Feeling like a shark in a shrimp tank. Big fish, small pond in the shrimp tank.
Hey everybody, welcome to the post-show wrap-up of the Shrimp Tank. I'm your co-host, Ted Jenkins, sitting with my co-host, Lee Heisman, today. And, of course, our special guest today, Dr. Rashad Richey.
I'm real special.
Yes, he was special today. I have to tell you, folks, of all the podcasts we've done in the last couple of years, this is one you're going to want to listen to because there was just so much good advice about being a leader, about how to run your company, about what you can do for the community here in Atlanta. He's recently won a number of accolades, including recently 40 Under 40 Award for the Atlanta Business Chronicle. And he also received the Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award, which I know you didn't do. He did it, but you did it. So that's why you got to listen to the podcast today. And as always, you can download us at Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, or anywhere you can find us on the internet.
You know, on the post-show video wrap-up, Dr. Richey, we tend to try to throw some highlighted points, but, you know, there's not enough in 3 to 5 minutes to cover all of the valuable content that you provided. So I do strongly recommend going back and listening to the show in its entirety. But just a small segment, we talked briefly about government contracts. You know, you work intimately here in the community of Atlanta and the Georgia area. What is your recommendation for people trying to work in the government?
If anyone has a skill set or trade, if you offer a service, if you cook food, if you cater, whatever it may be, there's typically opportunity for you to work with the government. But the first thing you have to do is register your business with that city or county government. I have multiple government contracts. The great thing about government contracts is that they stay constant even when the economy fluctuates. And it depends on how your contract is structured. Typically, we're talking about a one-year contract. Well, they've already allocated the budget for that 1 year. So it doesn't matter that we're in the middle of a pandemic. All of my government contracts will be serviced properly because the money is already there. It only affects the projected money based on the projected tax revenue. So if you have a 2-year contract, they may want to renegotiate in the second year, but you can take that second year renegotiation and parlay it into 5 years if you accept their deal. So it's a lot of ways to work government contracts. Whatever skill you offer or whatever service you provide, look toward your government to see if your local government offers any space for you to make money there.
Smart, you know, Dr. Richey, I really enjoyed the podcast today because you sounded very much like a professor in going through a number of these issues today, really just explaining them in a very thoughtful way. But for a lot of our business owners out there, and some that may be struggling, that they're not doing as well as they could you talk about the difference that you explained on the podcast today about being a transactional leader and being a transformational leader and why they may not even be knowing that they're a transactional leader that's hurting their business?
Transformational leadership looks at the humanism of the employee, looks at the humanism of you, and makes decisions based on people capital. A transactional leader typically looks at the ones and zeros, at the money, and the allocation of the budget and nothing else. The reason why that's a mistake is because the universe is set up to reward individuals who are transformational. And even your personal context, you as an individual, you as a person, you are set up in a way to be your most creative you when you can sleep well at night, when you can actually engage in creative thought. The reason why you are a CEO is because you got this vision to do this remarkable thing. Well, you got this vision because obviously you were in a clear place to get it. In order to not only sustain that, but to enhance it, you have to be creative. And there's a difference between creativity and innovation. Innovation is when you can take the creativity and make it work for other people. That's called innovation. Being creative is not enough for $1 million or multi-million-dollar company. Innovation is what you have to connect. You can never get to innovation without being transformational yourself, because only a transformational thought process will figure something out that makes room for other people, and you can make profit out of it. And so that's an everyday, just lifestyle decision that you choose to make. You choose to be transactional or transformational.
Yeah, surround yourself with people like this, Ted, and you ultimately get better and better.
Definitely.
I feel smarter today just spending an hour and a half with you, and I'm so glad I got you out here today. So kind of what we talked about before, if you listen to the podcast in entirety, Dr. Richey does so much. And we could literally sit here for an hour and a half and just talk about the boards that you're on and all of your accolades. My big question for you is, what do you do for yourself? How do you energize yourself? Because as an entrepreneur and a CEO, for you to give back, you have to take care of yourself first. How do you do that?
So some people may not like my answer, but it is the truth. I believe in a 7-day work week, so I don't really rest for an entire day. There's no day that I simply take off and I rest that entire day. I do try to find balance by doing things that I like. You know what I like? I like sci-fi movies. So I'm a Trekkie. So I enjoy watching what I want to watch when I can watch it. I also like getting massages. So once a week, I always get a 1 hour and a half massage, no matter what's going on in my world. Those are things that I like to do. But beyond that, here's what's very therapeutic. Being your authentic self is the most therapeutic thing you can do. What I found in just work life, if you're constantly changing who you are to match where you're at, that's when you get stressed beyond belief. Find spaces where you can be the authentic you. And in that space, you will find that it is therapy itself.
That's wonderful. You know, and it's so true. Be the authentic you. And I know, as I said, Dr. Richey has a little more energy than me. And I have lived my life being my authentic self. And
Yep.
you know what? If someone doesn't want to be around me at that point, I probably don't want to be around them as well. And I know that's exactly the way that you are. So how do people get in touch with you if they want to learn more, listen more? I know I want to listen more to you. What are the best avenues?
Absolutely. You can always follow me on social media, Twitter at Rashad1380. Go to our Facebook group page and join it, Real Talk with Rashad Richey. I'm on WAOK and V103 FM. And you can go to RashadRichey.com and get all that information there as well.
Well, we learned a lot today in the post-show wrap-up, but most importantly, I think, if you listen to the whole podcast that Dr. Richey had today, is that to succeed in life in general, you can't be Switzerland. I have always felt that, and I think Dr. Richey just echoed it for me today, that you've got to be able to speak your voice and speak your opinion. Now, it's better if you have facts to back them up.
Right.
But either way, you got to be able to be your true self, and the more true self that you are, the better you will be with your customers, the better you'll be with your employees, and the better off your business will be for the long term. Thanks so much for joining us on the program
Thank you
today.
both.
I appreciate it,
Wonderful.
and that's your post-show wrap-up of the Shrimp Tank.
I've been feeling like a shark in a shrimp tank. Big fish, small pond in the shrimp